My name's John Dockrell, and I've just recently been on an exchange trip with JCU, James Cook University, through to Thailand under the new Colombo plan. The new Colombo plan provides for a once-off gift to students in their bachelor degree or undergraduate to travel and actually study overseas, and this gives an opportunity for students to have a cultural exchange experience, creating networks for the future. The exchange trip through to Thailand took a lot of preparation, so several students, including myself, had been to Laos previously. This time we were going to Thailand, so there's months of preparation required, working with such a large group with archaeologists, anthropologists and also social workers from James Cook University. So with all my preparations done, I boarded the plane and then flew out on a 9-hour flight direct to Thailand. So my first experience in Thailand was in fact in Bangkok, and we were waiting for the rest of the group to turn up, the heritage students and also social students. I had a small group with me. We went out and visited the local areas, including the infamous Khasan Road. To me, it was pretty full on. I didn't like the pulling and grabbing and here, buy this, that was pretty confronting for myself. But these were people, a lot of them making products by themselves and selling them in the streets. Getting used to the currency and paying for public transport was interesting. The tourist boat which we jumped on initially cost 40 baht to a specific area, location. On the way back we took the public transport, and that was only I think it was 2 baht. One of the main and immediate benefits that I see tourism in places or villages that have little or no money is immediately health will improve, housing will improve, education can improve. So these 3 things are essential for anyone to progress or to actually have an opportunity to do something other than just survive. So tourism, in my perspective, is really important. So my question that I'm basing my whole video essay around is: consider when it's good for people to make money with items possibly marketed in quantity to tourists. So if we consider that, there are some issues there. So as the heritage team and the social workers team, together we moved from Bangkok through to Nakhon Ratchasima, and then we met our NRRU student buddies.
Hello, my name is Sunny Jabu. You can call me Nan. I'm 21 years old. Now I'm studying in Faculty of Education English major, and I'm working in Student Council, and now I'm an RU Young Ambassador. It's around 2 years I will graduate.
Hello, my name is Thanawan Thongyai. You can call me Yu. I am an NRU student too from Faculty of Education. It's around 2 years so we graduated from this university. So now I'm 21 years old.
Sunny and AU, of the entire NRRU JCU exchange program, what did you enjoy most?
From this program, we have participated for 3 weeks. Yeah, with JCU students and NRU students to our friends. So we have learned many new things that I never knew before, like archaeological, and know more about historical sites in Thailand.
The highlight in this activity is the Banner, right? Yes. And The highlight for me is our friendship.
So as the heritage team and the social workers team, together we moved from Bangkok through to Nakhon Ratchasima, or today it's known as Korat. The textile shop there, we went and visited how they made the pottery, how much it was actually sold for. Also visited the Petrified Wood Museum, which was amazing. Whole forests of this amazing petrified wood. And I've never seen anything like that. We then proceeded through to Ban Wat. We went to Pimai, Phnom Rung, that overlooked Cambodia, and that certainly to me was one of the highlights of the trip. But we went through to the Tho So Museum, we went into Ban Chiang, and also Chanabot, where the Otop Silk was, and Kuang Fossil Research Centre, or Dinosaur Museum. So there was a lot that we actually covered through Thailand. It was certainly a massive, amazing experience, especially going through and seeing some of the open museums. That was pretty impressive and a great opportunity for tourism. We stayed in Ban Wat for 3 nights. It was a homestay situation where there were 2 or 3 of us to a house with some of the locals who had homestayed there before. So, how would you suggest heritage here in Ban Wat can be used to increase further income?
Initially already there's a museum at Ban Wat, and that museum can be used to increase not only local Thai tourism but also foreign tourism that comes in and spends money within the community.
And also the type of things that you make, for example organic perishable goods which has no artefacts which can be looted or stolen and sold on the black market, such as the reed mats that we're already making at Ban Wat, would be a good idea, and it also helps to keep the traditions alive of how to make these things, but doesn't give a market for things to be stolen because there's none in the ground.
So in your perspective, what are some of the issues with mass production of items such as pots and artwork, etc., that are specific to the cultural heritage across Assam and Thailand?
There's a downside to having these constantly recreated replicas that last forever, because if you continue to make replicas, you run the risk of losing the cultural connection or your heritage connection to the item, and it becomes the focus on just the monetary value. And then sooner or later, a corporation or a big business or whatever, someone's going to take the ownership of that away from the village, and then they lose all connection to it entirely.
Another danger could be that the replicas create a demand for the genuine artifacts. So people have all these replicas, but that just makes them want the real thing more, and this can lead to looting. There was an example of this when we went to Ban Chiang. There's a big market and all these replica pots being made, and there's been looting at a site nearby called Ban Nadi, which I can only assume is rich collectors looking for the genuine item, and that's the danger of archaeology and reproduction, I feel.
In Ban Chiang, I picked this replica pot up that's made there. Awesome little pot. Have to have one, apparently. Some would argue that pottery that is made as a replica may actually provide a want for certain people who have the money and resource to pay others to loot. And we certainly know about this occurring only a couple of weeks prior to our arrival in one of the local villages. So it's important that we consider what we're presenting to tourists for our income, but it's also very important that we consider alternatives and how we would protect certain sites. So the protection of the cultural heritage is paramount to the longevity and the continuing tourism for the area. Marketing items in quantity to tourists definitely has its positives for locals, but the authenticity of what the product once was will be lost eventually. When we mass produce something, the once-off items that were produced before lose the real importance of what they were. A really good example of this was the fertility carvings or sculptures on Khao San Road in Bangkok itself. These items were male appendages, so they're selling them in such quantities that the importance or the cultural significance of that fertility symbol or item has lost or will lose a lot of its significance. That's one of the issues. How do you tell a person that they're going to lose the significance of an item if they continually mass produce and sell it when they don't have enough money without doing this to pay for food, to send their kids to school, or to take their children to a doctor? An income based or derived from tourism is certainly possible throughout Isan or throughout Thailand. It's been done in Australia as well, with the local indigenous communities. And mixing tourism and culture is not without its challenges. So to answer my essay question, when is it okay to mass produce cultural heritage replica items and sell them to tourists? Well, I suppose it's not really okay, although if it's done at a local level, so one of the OTOP sites, then that is more okay, because the money's actually going back to that community. However, if it's sold in mass production by a conglomerate with entities that may be business owners from across the world, outside of Thailand, then where is that money going? So that's my answer. Thanks for watching.